When people talk about the threat to democracy that Trump poses, do you really think that is an equal evil to Biden?
I mean, listen, I can make the argument that President Biden is a much worse threat to democracy. And the reason for that is President Biden is the first candidate in history, the first president in history that has used the federal agencies to censor political speech, so to censor his opponent. I can say that because I just won a case in the Federal Court of Appeals and now before the Supreme Court. It shows that he started censoring not just me. 37 hours after he took the oath of office, he was censoring me. No president in the country has ever done that. The greatest threat to democracy is not somebody who questions election returns, but a president of the United States who used the power of his office to force the social media companies, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, to open a portal and give the access to that portal to the FBI, to the CIA, to the IRS, to CISA, to NIH, to censor his political critics. President Biden, for the first president in history, to use his power over the Secret Service to deny Secret Service protection to one of his political opponents.
I never considered voting for RFK, not even for a minute, because you know who my guy is, Trump 2024. But now, if you ever listen to RFK speak about specific policies regarding big pharma, vaccines, things like that, you probably agree with everything he's saying. Too much government. RFK nails it. He's very well spoken on those issues. And I think that everybody needs to pay attention to what he's saying. I don't agree with him about everything. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the listeners here on this channel probably wouldn't agree with a lot of things he say if you follow politics. But nevertheless, turn of events happen. This is politics. Anything could happen. A lot of unprecedented things have been happening in my lifetime here, following this stuff. It's been getting pretty crazy, and it's certainly getting real. And RFK has dropped out of the race. Everybody knew he was going to do that. And he actually did. I really didn't believe that he would support Trump and get behind Trump and endorse him. But he actually did. He actually endorsed Donald Trump. And the mainstream media is trying to make this seem like not that big of a deal and that he had no chance of winning, giving this man the blues, that his 3 or his 5% of the vote is, it's not really that relevant. Oh, but it is. Because the people that will vote for RFK, they're not Kamala Harris supporters. They're not Biden supporters, not most of them. And that's my opinion. But I truly believe that most of RFK's voters are deep down inside they're Trump supporters. I met a couple of them myself. they like a lot of the things that RFK had to say. I mean, he like I said, on the issues of big pharma, on the issues of government. Man, RFK, you can put him and Trump together, bro. It's a dream team. So that's why I'm doing this video. So, I wanted to go ahead and play the mainstream media and how they are trying to downplay RFK and trying to make him look pretty bad. When I think it's going to backfire on them, because Kamala Harris is a absolute disaster, and RFK teaming up with Trump is probably their worst nightmare.
RFK, though, saying he's not ending his campaign, he's just suspending it, still encouraging people to vote for him, and then saying that it's very possible that he could win the White House. Joining us now, director at the Center for Politics at the University of Virginia and editor-in-chief of the Crystal Ball, Larry Sabato. So, Larry, is it very possible that he could get into the White House if the two major candidates are tied?
I hate to see anybody lose money, so please don't bet on that outcome. There's next to zero, I have a zero chance, what am I saying, next to zero chance of that happening. And he's entitled to do whatever he wants. He's a citizen and reasonably well known, but this is a very odd combination of I'm withdrawing and I'm endorsing Trump, but I'm remaining on the ballots in a lot of states. Please vote for me. I guess people will eventually figure it out, but Katie, it doesn't matter. He has been dropping like a rock ever since Kamala Harris got in. When he started, he was in the upper teens. In some polls, he was in the low 20s. And now, at best, he's at 5 or 6% in some of the states, and those polls are outdated. We've had a Democratic convention. One network poll just a few days ago had him at 2% 2%. 1, 2. For people who think that because he's endorsing Trump, he can just move that 2% into Trump's column, they don't know much about politics. It doesn't work that way. It's not going to work that way. Some of them will go to Trump. Some of them will vote for Harris. Some of them may choose someone else on the ballot. There are still plenty of other candidates, depending on which state you're in. And a lot of them will be couch voters, particularly the low information voters who were attracted to him because of his name. He tried to cash in on the Kennedy magic, and it turns out that the magic was in the 1960s.
Yeah, so that goes totally over their heads. They're not going to understand any of this until it comes back to bite them. But Robert F. Kennedy has some pretty interesting things to say about what's going on in the whole process and how he came to the determination that he was going to support Donald Trump. And I want you guys to take a listen. So take a look.
In about 10 battleground states where my presence would be a spoiler, I'm going to remove my name. And I've already started that process and urge voters not to vote for me. It's with a sense of victory and not defeat that I'm suspending my campaign activities. Not only did we do the impossible by collecting 1 million signatures, we changed the national political conversation forever. Chronic disease, free speech, government corruption, breaking our addiction to war have moved to the center of politics. I can say to all who have worked so hard in the last year and a half, thank you for a job well done. 3 great causes drove me to enter this race in the first place, primarily. And these are the principal causes that persuaded me to leave the Democratic Party and run as an independent. And now to throw my support to President Trump. The causes were free speech, the war in Ukraine, and the war on our children. I've already described some of my personal experiences and struggles with the government's censorship industrial complex. I want to say a word about the Ukraine war. The military industrial complex has provided us with a familiar comic book justification, like they do on every war, that this one is a noble effort to stop a supervillain, Vladimir Putin, from invading the Ukraine and then to thwart his Hitler-like march across Europe. In fact, tiny Ukraine is a proxy in a geopolitical struggle initiated by the ambitions of the U.S. neocons for American global hegemony. I'm not excusing Putin for invading Ukraine. He had other options. But the war is Russia's predictable response to the reckless neocon project of extending NATO to encircle Russia, a hostile act. The credulous media rarely explain to Americans that we unilaterally walked away from 2 intermediate nuclear weapons treaties with Russia and then put nuclear-ready Aegis missile systems in Romania and Poland. This is a hostile act. And that the Biden White House repeatedly spurned Russia's offer to settle this war peacefully.
I think the Democrats have a trouble understanding what the hell's going on when they're getting spanked so badly because they don't have policies. They don't have a plan for the American people. They don't actually have any sort of economic relief for average working class people. They just don't. They don't. And when 2 forces get together, like RFK and Trump, this is going to be absolutely great. Now, when Kamala Harris polled against Trump, months and months for months, she always did horribly. As soon as Joe Biden dropped out of the race and the mainstream media stopped pretending like he was so excellent, suddenly, Joe Biden looked really bad and the truth came out for a little bit. And then, bam, Kamala Harris was thrown in our face. But that's just kind of indicative of what, the Democrat Party is all about. Just, lies and deceit. So, we're supposed to be afraid of the big bad wolf, Kamala Harris. But what's actually going to happen, in my opinion, is that Trump joining forces with RFK It's going to cause major problems with the Democrat Party, especially when Robert F. Kennedy starts to expose the Democrat Party for what they've done to him, how they denied him Secret Service protection, how, their democratic process just kind of disappeared, and how, they tried to ramp up the rhetoric on President Trump so badly that it almost got him killed. So these things make the Democrat Party look like agents of Satan. That's pretty much what they look like. So when you have common interests and you don't necessarily agree on everything, but you agree on the most important things, this is when you need to get together. And that's why I'm excited about this. It's going to be a great leverage for Robert F. Kennedy and Donald Trump to collectively destroy the Democrat Party, because they're destroying America. And that's sort of my take on it. Let me know what you all think in the comments. This has been Yup, I Said It. Thank you so much.